Welcome back. Independent Labour candidate Richard Frederick has come out on top, having captured the Castries Central seat. Frederick, who went up against the UWP's Sarah Flood-Bulbra and the NGP's Aaron Alexander, had a 600-vote lead over the incumbent. Frederick says his victory belongs to those marginalized in St. Lucia.
The decision by Richard Frederick to run in the 2021 general election was one that was expected by many, and it was no surprise that Frederick would run on a ticket against the United Workers' Party on an independent Labour one. The Castries Central seat was the first to be called on election night. In his victory interview, Frederick says that the controversy surrounding him could not have overshadowed such a victory for the St. Lucian people.
One of the allegations is Richard has no visa. It was taken by the U.S. because of all sorts of things. I never brought that on myself. I sued the U.S. for $25 million US. Sadly, that case fell through the cracks because of technicalities. I did not get through. But from 2011, the very people in 2011 who had me to contest the elections on their behalf, that is the United Workers' Party. They are the ones now slandering me with the same stuff that at some point they had to defend. So, I mean, the people have seen all through this, and if Richard Frederick was so entrenched, was so engaged in any illegality, he should be in jail.
Frederick hopes that the legacy he is currently building will be carried on.
I'm from a poor family, and the sad reality is, as long as you're successful, being from a poor family, there is no societal expectation of success. If I was born in a Chasney family, or a Devo family, or a Dubule family, I would have been born with a societal expectation that I would make it. But coming from Miku, a banana community, my parents were farmers, and having done, I wouldn't say extremely well, but relatively well, persons believe that such success should not subscribe to one who came from such humble beginnings. But I just thank the Almighty God that He has done for me what I would have liked to do for another. And so I'm just hoping that I can continue the legacy, my children can continue the legacy that I started.
Frederick secured 2,099 votes, while the UWP's Sarah Flood-Bulbra got 1,494 votes, and the NGP's Aaron Alexander securing 55 votes. Nisha Charles, Hot 7 TV, Election Central.
The former UWP turned independent candidate Stevenson King is hopeful that his victory in the 2021 general election will see a shift in St. Lucia's democracy. King handsomely regained his Castries North seat with about 1,900 votes more than the UWP's Janine Girodi McIntyre. He says the win is also one of vindication.
The move that has been classified as many things, including bold, daring, and tantamount to treason, has paid off for a former stalwart of the United Workers' Party, Stevenson King. King, who was part of the UWP for over 30 years, broke ranks with the party mere days after UWP political leader Alan Chasney announced the election date. Since then, the attacks on Stevenson King have been swift in coming, but as the days went on, more and more individuals endorsed him and rallied around him to help bring about the sort of change that he would like to see in St. Lucian politics. That decision would lead to his victory Monday night, a victory that he is extremely proud of.
I believe that I had invested much in the constituency, not money, but really my time, my energy, my treasure, and my talent. And so it has paid off now, and the people are satisfied with what has happened. I'm lost for words tonight. I'm really lost for words tonight, but I believe it's the beginning of the beginning of a new day in St. Lucia, the dawn of a new day. Certainly, hopefully, based on the philosophy that I've started to preach and the message that I've started to preach, to which many people seem to buy in, I'm likely to see some transformation in the democracy that we live in.
Right.
To get more people involved in what is going on and get government and ministers to be more responsible and to understand that the role that they've got, for which they've been appointed, is one to serve, not to exert power on the people. And that is what I stand for, and I hope that we can execute those promises.
He says Monday's victory is one of redemption.
When I pulled away from the party, it was after much years of endurance, of enduring what was going on within the party. And of course, the claims which I made, I believe they were just. And the response of the people, I believe the people felt what was going on. And the people certainly understood the position that I took. And so throughout the length and breadth of the country, the blue wave seemed to have radiated. And people came forward throughout the country and stood up and rallied with the Labour Party and myself.
King secured 3,293 votes, while Jody McIntyre secured 1,396 votes, leaving the NGP candidate Daisy St. Rose and independent candidate Nathalbert George with about 50 votes each. Nisha Charles, Hot 7 TV, Election Central.
The chief of the Electoral Observation Mission of the OAS in St. Lucia has congratulated the citizens of the country on their strong civic commitment displayed in the general election and has presented a preliminary report.
We also commend the Electoral Commission and Department, including all poll workers and supervisory and security personnel, for their commitment and hard work in delivering the 2021 electoral process. The mission was comprised of 12 experts from 10 countries, all of whom were present here in the country. On Friday, July 23rd, we observed the conduct of the advanced poll for members of the police force, the correctional facility, fire service officers, election officials, and poll workers, patients at 3 hospitals, and persons at 2 care facilities.
The mission says it also engaged in a substantive analysis of critical aspects of the electoral process, including electoral organization and technology, electoral registries, political financing, and the political participation of women.
On Election Day, we were present here in St. Lucia's 17 constituencies and observed the process from the opening of the polling stations to the tallying and transmission of preliminary results. Members of the mission visited 227 polling stations in 64 polling divisions during the day and reported that the process was conducted in a well-organized and peaceful manner. The mission notes that a significant majority of women served as poll workers and party representatives and applauds their work and commitments to supporting democracy in St. Lucia. The findings of the mission, along with recommendations aimed at strengthening the democratic processes in St. Lucia, are contained in this preliminary report presented today. A detailed report, which expands on the mission's observations and recommendations, will be presented at the OAS Permanent Council in Washington, D.C. and shared with all stakeholders in St. Lucia.
The mission has expressed gratitude to the governments of the Dominican Republic, France, Korea, Italy, Peru, and the United States for their financial contributions, which made the deployment possible. The National Green Party candidate for Choiseul-Saltibus, Dr. Gilbertha St. Rose, is congratulating incoming Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre following the SLP's landslide victory on Monday. She's also calling on the population to hold the new government accountable.
We the people have spoken, and we congratulate our incoming Prime Minister, Philip J. Pierre, a true, authentic man of the soil. We pray that we move forward together in unity to get our country back on track. We need to keep things in check as progress is made.
She appealed to the re-elected MP for Choiseul-Saltibus, Bradley Felix.
Now that you have regained the trust of the people to continue as they rep in the constituency, you will be there full time, so please look after their needs. And housing, we haven't spoken, housing for them. And as you have set up this elite housing area, please accept the fact that they need access to the beach. Also, Mr. Bradley Felix, your expertise in banking, and hopefully you have gained in commerce, you can help the manufacturing and productive sector with your expertise.
Dr. St. Rose thanked the National Green Party and the people of Choiseul Saltibus for embracing her and seeing her as a viable option during the July 26 general election. A Roman Catholic cardinal who was once a close ally of Pope Francis has gone on trial in the Vatican, accused of misusing church money in a ruinous London property venture. The cardinal, 73, is the most senior cleric in modern times to face trial for alleged financial crimes. He is charged with spending £350 million of church money on a botched deal to buy a property in Chelsea that incurred huge losses. More from the BBC.
The trial begins at the Vatican today of a Roman Catholic cardinal who used to be a close ally of Pope Francis. Cardinal Angelo Becciu faces accusations including using church money to buy a multi-million-dollar property in London. He denies any wrongdoing. Let's take you to Rome and speak to the BBC's Mark Lowen. Mark, welcome to you. So tell us more about this trial.
Well, Sam, it's a tale of financial scandal and extortion at the heart of the Vatican that is worthy of the juiciest crime writer. But from today, it's being heard in a court inside Vatican City as Cardinal Becciu becomes the highest-ranking church official in modern history to face trial for financial crimes. It centres around a murky property deal a few years ago when Cardinal Becciu was a very senior figure within Vatican hierarchy, in which the Vatican invested some 350 million euros in a London property in Chelsea that used to belong to Harrods, the department store, and was going to be converted into a luxury block of flats. And the Vatican incurred very heavy losses on that deal. It was done through two Italian financiers based in London who are also on trial. Cardinal Becciu denies any wrongdoing and says that the money used for that investment was not, as prosecutors allege, money intended for church charitable work. He's also, though, being charged with funneling money, allegedly, to charities run by his brother in Sardinia and to a woman who is charged with using tens of thousands of euros to buy designer shoes and bags.
And Mark, what's the reaction been from within the Vatican and the wider public?
Well, Sam, Pope Francis and the Vatican, I think, will be hoping that this will be a very clear sign that no member of the Vatican hierarchy is above the law when it comes to clearing out the previously scandal-ridden Vatican finances, and that they will show that this is turning a page now on trying to get to grips with the Vatican finances, which had plagued Pope Francis's predecessor, for example, Benedict XVI, and also John Paul II. In terms of what could happen, well, this is a trial that will last several months. Today probably will be just a procedural appearance at the start of the trial. It'll then probably be adjourned till later in the summer or the autumn as well. Cardinal Becciu denies all the charges, and he says he is the victim of what he calls a dark plot.
OK, Mark Lowen in Rome for now.
You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. There's more after the break.